let you suckle my teats, boy, if you let me gobble your dung.
This broke, ugly, disgusting loser asked his girlfriend for money. He even told her she should take him to a love hotel and pay for it. However, Momo was no simp and tried to beat him up. Unfortunately for her, she had no plot armor, so the guy beat her up, then called her lame and walked away. Later, she talks to her friends where she explains that she was only attracted to him because he looked like her favorite actor Ken Takakura. As Momo walks through the halls feeling sad, she sees a weak, lonely loser getting picked on in a classroom. She sits at his desk and gives the bullies a serious look until they stop. The student was flabbergasted because he has never been that close to a girl before. Momo leaves, but is soon approached by the student. He explains that he knows why Momo helped him, but Momo was annoyed and didn't want to talk to him. He starts talking about aliens and the government, and Momo quickly regrets her life choices as she realized this guy was a weirdo. Momo gets upset and calls him a lonely loser, which hurts his feelings. Momo apologizes and admits she believes in ghosts more than aliens. The student laughs and says ghosts aren't real. This leads to a heated argument over their beliefs, ending with a challenge to prove if UFOs or ghosts are real. Late at night, Momo and the student go to separate places to see who is right. Momo goes to Nagi Hospital where the student thinks UFOs might appear, while the student heads to a tunnel where Momo believes a ghost might show up. Momo opens up about how she used to resent her grandmother. When she was younger, boys made fun of her after she was made to perform a public ritual by her grandmother. She later forgave her grandmother and started believing in ghosts after realizing the importance of her role as a spirit medium. She admits that what she really hated was not the bullying, but her crush making fun of her grandmother. Suddenly, the student runs into an old ghost called Turbo Granny.
I'll let you suckle my teats, boy, if you let me gobble your dung.
I am currently wetting my pants.
Does anyone know where this tunnel is? I am asking for a friend. Momo warns him about Turbo Granny, saying that if she catches him in a race, he'll be cursed. Momo rushes to help, but strange figures appear in the hallway. She tries to run but is caught and kidnapped by them. Momo wakes up to find herself tied to a chair. The strange figures introduce themselves as Serpos, an alien species trying to gain human reproductive abilities. The aliens explain that they are going to penetrate Momo with their swords, then steal her reproductive organs for research purposes. Momo struggles, but one of the Serpos uses mind powers to turn her on. Suddenly, Momo's phone rings and Turbo Granny appears. She comes out of the phone and bites off the alien's lollipop. Momo realizes that Turbo Granny is actually the male student who is being possessed. The Serpos try to stop the possessed student, but Turbo Granny bites off their lollipop. The Serpos use their mind powers to pin them down. The student admits he is a lonely loser who had no friends, so he thought he would try to be friends with aliens. However, Momo was the only person who cared about him, so he begged them to spare her. The Serpos refuse and continue to increase Momo's arousal. Momo remembers her grandmother's instructions on performing a ritual to release her inner energy. She unlocks psychic powers that allow her to break free. With her new abilities, Momo finally understands her grandmother's true skills as a spirit medium. She kicks the alien, but this time, she had the power of plot armor behind it. Momo manages to stop Turbo Granny's possession of the male student. However, Turbo Granny warns Momo that she has taken the student's lollipop, and the only way to break the curse is for Momo to face her in the tunnel where she lives. After surviving the destruction of the UFO, the student leaves to confront Turbo Granny alone because he doesn't want to trouble Momo any further. However, Momo insists on helping him. The student accepts her offer and apologizes for his behavior, explaining that he's just a weirdo. When he says this, it reminds Momo of something her favorite actor would say. Momo then asks the male student for his name. She is stunned when he reveals that his name is Ken Takakura. Momo can't believe this ugly loser has the same name as Ken Takakura, so she tells him he can't use his name around her. She decides to call him Akaran, which he reluctantly agrees to. Momo starts teasing him, so he farts at her.
Ew!
Since it's morning and spirits usually don't appear during the day, Momo invites Akaran to her house until night when they can face Turbo Granny. When they arrive, Akaran's body suddenly catches fire as he tries to pass through the Torii Gate. Momo quickly uses her psychic powers to throw him into the nearby river. She then realizes that the talisman on her gate caused the problem, so she removes it so Ocarin can enter safely. Momo finds it funny that Ocarin's hair now looks like an old lady's perm after being burned. Later, Ocarin becomes upset because his lollipop is missing, and now he won't be able to poke Momo with it. Momo reminds him it happened because of what he did when he approached her at school. Ocarin admits he is a lonely loser who didn't want to miss the chance to make a friend and worries Momo won't want to be friends with him. Momo reassures him that his real problem is isolating himself without realizing it and tells him she's willing to talk about the paranormal stuff with him. Ocarin gets emotional, but insults her, which annoys Momo. The two hear the doorbell ring but don't recognize the sound. Momo thinks it must be an evil spirit because her house has two different chimes, one for people and one for spirits. She realizes that the spirit was able to enter because she removed the talisman from the Torii gate. Momo and Ocarin sneak out the back door and try to put the talisman back in its place. However, a wall has appeared inside the Torii gate, stopping them from putting the talisman back and trapping them with no way to escape. As they notice their noses are bleeding from a harmful black mist surrounding them, they come face to face with a giant spirit above them. The giant accuses them of breaking a promise and says it plans to take their banana organs. Momo and Ocarin run and hide from the giant's stomping shockwaves. Ocarin realizes that the creature is the Flatwoods monster because of how it looks, while Momo suspects it's connected to the Serpos based on its reason for attacking. Momo struggles to fight the Flatwoods monster while also using her powers to suppress Ocarin's curse. Ocarin thinks he might be able to fight the alien if Momo can focus her powers on controlling Turbo Granny's curse in his head, allowing him to take control of his body. As the Flatwoods monster prepares to attack again, Momo follows Ocarin's plan. Ocarin transforms and uses Turbo Granny's speed to quickly move both of them out of the way. It turns out that Granny's power turned Ocarin into an emo guy. However, Ocarin coughs up blood because his human body can't handle the extreme speed. Before the Flatwoods monster can stomp on him, Momo quickly pulls him to safety. As Momo and Ocarin struggle to figure out how to defeat the Flatwoods monster, Momo notices that it's fighting like a sumo wrestler. She believes they can win if they make it touch the ground, which is against the rules in sumo. Momo uses her psychic powers with her right hand to control Ocarin's curse, allowing him to break the alien's right leg. At the same time, she uses her left hand to pull the alien down, causing its right hand to disintegrate. The Flatwoods monster grows 2 more legs to stay balanced and slams Momo into the wall near the Torii gate. While keeping Ocarin's curse under control, the monster pounds Momo into the wall. Ocarin begs her to protect herself, but Momo calls the monster a cheater and refuses to give up. After the Flatwoods monster stops attacking her, Momo reveals that she allowed it to pound her to create a hole in the wall, just big enough for her to put the talisman back in place. She pulls Ocarin toward her and puts the talisman back, which burns the Flatwoods monster and returns them to the real world. Momo feels relieved that the fight is finally over and notices that Ocarin's hair has changed again, now looking wild and messy, but she actually likes it. After the intense battle, Momo is completely exhausted and collapses in front of Ocarin. With her unable to help, Ocarin ends up being possessed by Turbo Granny's curse once again. Before Turbo Granny could harm Momo, her grandmother arrives just in time and throws a brick with a nail and a special symbol on it which sets Turbo Granny on fire. When Momo's grandmother challenges Turbo Granny to a fight, Turbo Granny tries to attack her from behind but catches fire again as she gets close. The grandmother explains that she has created a protective barrier around herself with her bat to keep evil spirits away, and has also trapped Turbo Granny inside another barrier. Turbo Granny is repeatedly hit by the grandmother with her bat and burns every time she tries to escape the barrier. Despite Turbo Granny warning that killing her would also harm Ocarin, the grandmother says Turbo Granny's attempt to hurt Momo is unforgivable. After noticing a second barrier drawn around her, Seiko says goodbye to the spirit and erases the first barrier with her foot, triggering flames that trap the evil spirit. Later, Momo wakes up in her bed and goes to the living room where she finds her grandmother watching TV. Worried that Ocarin might be in danger, Momo asks her grandmother if she has seen him. She is shocked when her grandmother casually says she defeated the evil spirit earlier. Her grandmother reminds her of the time Momo accused her of being a fake spirit medium. Momo gets on her knees to apologize. Her grandmother then tells her to check the main shrine outside. Rushing to the shrine, Momo opens the doors and finds Akaran safe and excited to see her. However, her relief quickly turns to annoyance and she slams the doors shut. Her grandmother comes outside to explain that Akaran's curse is under control within the shrine and admits she only pretended he was in danger to tease Momo. She also asks if Momo has feelings for Akaran, which Momo denies. After Momo shares that her psychic powers have started developing and explains Akaran's situation, her grandmother warns her not to get involved with Turbo Granny. She reveals that Turbo Granny recently merged with an earthbound spirit in the tunnel, making her a much stronger and more dangerous evil spirit than before. Despite her grandmother's warning to stay away from Akaran, Momo insists on helping him, saying it's what Kin Takakura would do. She ultimately agrees to let Momo confront Turbo Granny. She lays out a plan. Momo and Akaran need to train and then challenge Turbo Granny to a game of tag to lure her out of Shono City and weaken her powers. When they're alone, Akaran apologizes to Momo for being weak during the encounter with the Flatwoods monster and promises to get stronger. Momo reassures him, saying he was brave during the alien attack and promises to save him if needed. Meanwhile, in the living room, Momo's grandmother watches a TV report about Shoma, who she had previously performed clairvoyance for. The report confirms her predictions by exposing Shoma's secrets. During their training, Momo notices that Akaran desperately needs to use the bathroom, but she refuses to let him go alone since she must stay with him to keep his curse in check. Momo then tells her grandmother how her psychokinesis works by locking onto auras she can see and admits that her powers were stronger when they first appeared. Her grandmother suggests that Momo close her eyes and rely on her sense of touch to control Akaran's curse instead of her sight. Momo tries to follow her grandmother's advice, but she struggles, especially as Turbo Granny's curse starts to take hold of Akaran. Unable to hold it in any longer, Akaran rushes to the bathroom with Momo and her grandmother chasing after him. While keeping the curse under control with the bathroom door open, Momo's grandmother tells her that her psychic abilities still have untapped potential and that she needs training to fully regain them. Suddenly, Momo notices her grandmother's nose and is horrified to see Turbo Granny appearing in the bathroom. Speaking through Akaran, Turbo Granny warns Momo that her curse can kill anyone Akaran has looked at. She threatens to start killing people randomly unless Momo faces her in the tunnel that night. After Turbo Granny leaves, Momo is relieved to be able to talk to her grandmother and Akaran again. Seeing her grandmother's nose and ears and the burnt talisman on the wall, her grandmother asks Momo what just happened. Before heading to the tunnel, Momo's grandmother gives Momo and Akaran special garments to protect them from evil spirits. She hugs Momo tightly and tells her to return safely. On the train ride to the tunnel, Momo is filled with anger toward Turbo Granny for hurting her grandmother and silently vows to get revenge. This is the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe for more anime recap videos.